Throughout every far corner of nearly all first world nations lies a massive, looming problem: the housing crisis, an insidious cancer that eats away at nearly all aspects of the younger generation's livelihoods. Here in New York, we've been getting battered with some of the most egregious cases of this problem. Manhattan, 2,000 a month studio apartments, an average apartment rent of 4,600 a month, all the while 90,000 units lie vacant. In Brooklyn, brownstones that were previously the homes of the working middle class now sell for millions. Citywide, we watch greedy landlords go to far lengths to ensure that rent-stabilized apartments stay or even become vacant, while they continue to jack up the already inflated prices. Matter of fact, when I was getting sources for the Car Free Manhattan video, I came across this ad for a $9 million Tribeca loft. I get that it's 4,700 square feet, but come on. It's been proven time and time again that building more affordable housing would solve the housing crisis. So with that being said, why are we building more? We need a massive wave of new housing construction, yet most new buildings we see are tall luxury apartments that sit mostly empty, especially in Manhattan and Brooklyn, and are nothing but giant glass middle fingers to the working class of New York. But why? At the surface level, it's hard to believe that such a simple solution would be avoided like the plague, especially during such a deep chasm of a housing crisis. But as you dig deeper, things start to make more sense. For example, remember what I said earlier about the luxury apartments? Those seem to begin to be built so much because of restrictions to the size of new buildings, like Manhattan's air rights, where a new building can only be up to 75 feet before having to purchase air rights from others. Think, if you're a developer with a lot and air rights in Manhattan, are you going to build affordable housing that gives low profit margin, especially when there's not many units because housing is an investment now for some reason? Or build a tall luxury condo, getting the money back from the sky-high rent, despite the fact that, again, these buildings sit mostly empty? I've already said this in the housing short, but this is exactly how we get abominations of buildings like 432 Park, 111 West 57, and Central Park Tower, instead of some actual affordable apartments for the actual citizens of the city. Those brownstones are a completely different can of worms though. When they were building tons of brownstones throughout Brooklyn in the early 1900s, not only were they built when labor was way cheaper than now, but also when the building material wasn't as scarce. Though air rights are only prominent within Manhattan, while the crisis is citywide, which leads us to the outer boroughs. Here, it can be harder to get the permits to build new buildings, and luxury apartments can be deemed worth the hassle, while more affordable ones get built less, proportionally at least. Or in the more suburban areas, these places can just be downzoned in a way that makes it so the densest buildings you can legally build are row homes. I'm looking at you, the South Shore. NIMBYs also do a great job at complaining about housing prices and rent, but then blocking new, bigger buildings that would have helped curb the thing they complain of. As for solutions, well, first, upzoning near transit is a good start. The city was literally built off this principle. When the Flushing line was being built out, it literally extended into what was the middle of nowhere. Then dense neighborhoods began being built around the stations. Upzoning near transit would encourage more use of the transit it's built around, which bleeds into the topic of last video. This also applies to not just the outer boroughs but the suburbs too. Building denser neighborhoods around Long Island Railroad and Metro North stations would go a long way at lowering rents in the city and those suburbs with commuter rail stations. I'm sure places like Bayside would be way less expensive to live in if the few towers around the station didn't just end not even 1,000 feet out and immediately turn into single-family homes. Second would be to end this madness where housing is considered an investment by banks, billionaires, and landlords. Banks and billionaires hold housing essentially for ransom, buying them up and presumably selling them at higher prices later, or more maliciously, landlords doing the same thing and also intentionally keeping some units from the market to drive prices up even higher. Another solution would be to encourage the building of affordable units to developers, or let the city build some too, as both NYCHA and regular buildings. These, combined with building more housing overall and ending Manhattan's air rights thing, would work wonders in help solving this housing crisis. But it would need more than just a willing mayor and some building materials. Building materials? What the f is a building material? Oh boy, problems. First, as there always is, there will probably be conflict between the mayor trying to roll a plan like this out and the governor, especially when it comes to upzoning near transit in the suburbs. Another obstacle to the solutions are, surprise surprise, NIMBYs. When it comes to stopping the home investing madness, they'll be the most indifferent in that regard. But when it comes to upzoning near transit, especially in the suburbs, NIMBYs will go completely rabid. This also applies to the building more thing. Another obstacle would be the landlords, banks, and billionaires. Mostly with the madness point, but really with every point the way they, especially landlords, benefit from the housing crisis. There's not much more I can say about this. I think about these solutions working in unison to restore rent prices to at least semi-normalcy, but I know full well that it's not happening anytime soon. Elected officials are drawing to short-term solutions that get evaded anyway, like rent stabilization, because they're short-term and instant and get attributed to them, while the long-term solutions that actually work, like building more housing, take a lot of time in both the building and taking effect parts, where someone else can take credit for. I fear that we can only get the changes we desperately need if we all come together and demand it continuously. And that's obviously difficult, but not impossible. We as a city have to come together and say enough is enough and demand change. As much as I want to say that it's never happening, you go nowhere with that attitude. Hey, now it's the outro part. I've got some new things to say. First off, the response to last video was amazing. I half expected it to flop and get like 20 views, but at the time of me voicing this portion of the video, it's at how many views? And Mystic Transit himself commented. I can't stop stuttering. And I stated with 3 stated as I was saying, and I started with 3 subscribers, and now I'm at 460, and I'm genuinely thrilled. I spent 27 and a half hours just editing the video over 3 weeks. Yeah, it's an actual number for my screen time statistics. It's on the screen right now. And yes, I did it on a mobile editing app. I have no shame. Also, most of that time between the hours of 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. And secondly, as you could tell before you clicked on the video, I'm now using Photoshop to edit the thumbnails, which is how this video's thumbnail was made. Also, the same thing I said in the last outro bit applies here too, except more so because this topic is way more serious. That means if I got anything wrong, or even if you think I got something wrong, or there's like a hole in my logic or something, tell me in the comments, and I'll try to sort of fix my mistake by replying to you with 6 paragraphs. This happened last time, so I'll try to prevent it. And again, all the links to the sources are in a pastebin in the description. The link should work now as I got the channel verified, so see you when I see you. I haven't decided what the next video will be yet. Or build a tall luxury condo, getting the money back from the sky-high rent. I don't know why I said it like that. But despite the fact, again, these buildings... Okay, I can't with this...